Rain pounded the city streets, turning every puddle into a shimmering mirror of neon lights. A small, trembling voice pierced the storm. "Daddy! I can't see the car coming." Marcus froze. Beside him, his daughter Lily clutched his sleeve, wide-eyed and soaked. Across the slick road, a young blind girl wobbled dangerously, her white cane tapping frantically against the asphalt. A car's headlights cut through the dark, roaring toward her. Instinct overrode thought. Marcus lunged forward, sweeping the girl into his arms. Tires screeched. Time seemed to pause. Lily's voice quivered, "You saved her." But when he placed the girl safely on the curb, Marcus noticed something he hadn't expected, a flicker of fear and trust in her eyes, a courage that mirrored his own hidden past. A bystander's phone captured the moment, the single dad, drenched, shielding a blind child from imminent danger. In the chaos of flashing lights and murmurs, Marcus's chest tightened. He had no idea, not yet, that this one act, on an ordinary stormy night, would reveal a truth so profound it could change lives forever. Marcus Everett had been a single dad for 6 years. His life was a quiet rhythm of survival and devotion, a balancing act between work and fatherhood. By day, he worked as a janitor in the towering corporate complex downtown, sweeping marble floors, emptying bins, and unnoticed by the suited figures who strode past him. By evening, he was a devoted father, ferrying Lily to violin lessons, helping her with homework under the warm, flickering light of their tiny kitchen, and telling her bedtime stories about brave heroes who saved the world quietly. Marcus's outward calm masked the storm of his past. He had served in the military, trained for situations where fear and life-or-death decisions coexisted. That discipline had become instinct, buried beneath years of ordinary work and a humble life. Few could see it, but every choice he made, every protective glance, carried the weight of a man who had once been tested in ways the public never knew. Lily, 7 years old, was his heartbeat. Her dark curls bounced as she ran to him in the mornings, backpack slung over one shoulder, her tiny violin case balanced precariously in the other hand. She had inherited his stubborn determination, but also a rare innocence that softened even the hardest hearts. Lily's small hands could make a room feel alive, her laughter could erase the day's exhaustion. A small, frayed stuffed bear, a gift from her late mother, rested on her bed. Lily whispered secrets to it, and sometimes she whispered them to Marcus. Each night, before sleep claimed her, she would curl up against him, murmuring, "Daddy, I love you." Those words, soft and unassuming, were the anchor in his life. Among Marcus's few personal possessions was a bronze medal, tucked into a drawer and polished only occasionally. It was engraved with his name and a date, a relic from his military service, a reminder of courage that few had witnessed. It was heavy, both in metal and in memory, a symbol of bravery he had carried silently, even after leaving the battlefield. Marcus rarely spoke of it. In his eyes, actions mattered more than recognition. Their apartment was modest but filled with warmth. The smell of brewed coffee mingled with worn books stacked in the corner. Puddles of sunlight streamed through the blinds in the morning, casting rectangles of gold across the floor. Marcus had learned to treasure these ordinary moments, Lily's laughter over spilled cereal, the quiet hum of her violin during practice, the way her small hand found his in the dark. These moments reminded him why he endured long, tiring days. But beneath all this calm lay a hidden strength, a readiness shaped by experience. Marcus was a man accustomed to danger, trained to react before thought could interfere. He carried the instincts of a soldier, though he now applied them to the ordinary, protecting his daughter, noticing danger on crowded streets, anticipating accidents. It was in this ordinary life, among mundane tasks and nightly bedtime rituals, that Marcus's heroism quietly thrived. The world around him might never notice, might never acknowledge the sacrifices he made or the instinctive courage he carried. But he had Lily, and that was enough. She was his compass, his reminder that bravery often exists not in headlines, but in quiet, relentless love. Little did he know, the stormy night ahead, the rain-slick streets and the flickering neon lights, would challenge this quiet life. It would force Marcus to act, instinctively, to reveal the courage he had carried silently all these years. The rain had intensified, turning the city streets into a mosaic of reflective light and shadow. Marcus walked Lily home from her violin lesson, her tiny hand clasped tightly in his. The world was a blur of neon signs, puddles, and the constant hum of traffic. Every step was measured, every glance scanned for danger. Ahead, movement caught his eye. A small girl, no more than 8, wobbled near the curb, a white cane tapping erratically against the asphalt. The rain plastered her hair to her forehead. Drivers honked, some slowing just enough to avoid her, others too late. Marcus's instincts surged. Before thought could interfere, he sprinted, his feet sliding in the slick puddles. "Hold still," he shouted, lunging. In a single motion, he swept the girl into his arms. Tires screeched behind him, time seemed to slow as he felt the wind from a passing car brush past his coat. Lily's gasp cut through the storm, "Daddy, be careful." He didn't answer. There was no time for words. Only action. He set the girl safely on the curb, checking that her cane lay within reach. Her small hand reached up, gripping his sleeve. "Thank you," she whispered, voice trembling. Marcus nodded, heart hammering, and instinctively scanned the street. Then he noticed her mother stepping out of a sleek black car, a woman in designer clothes, her posture poised yet tense. Marcus didn't recognize her at first. The blind girl's hand shot forward, touching the woman's wrist. "Mom," she murmured. The woman froze, eyes wide. Recognition flashed across her face. I didn't expect." Marcus felt the weight of the moment. Their encounter was more than chance, it was a collision of worlds he didn't yet understand. From the corner of his eye, he saw a delivery truck veering dangerously toward the curb. Reflexively, Marcus pivoted, shielding the blind girl with his body. The truck passed mere inches away, spraying water and debris. The crowd gasped. Someone's phone had captured the entire sequence, Marcus, drenched, shielding a child, Lily clinging to his arm. "Film this." "That man saved her," shouted a bystander. Marcus barely noticed the camera. His eyes scanned the girl, the trust, the fear, and then the woman, whose expression had shifted from shock to quiet awe. "You." "Marcus Everett," she said suddenly, voice low, almost incredulous. Marcus furrowed his brow. I don't know you. You were part of the mission last year. Lives saved. Quiet heroism. I never thought I'd see you here," she said. His hand brushed against the bronze medal in his pocket, a symbol of courage he had never displayed publicly. The memory of missions past, of training, of instinctive bravery, surged within him. Here it was again, not on a battlefield, but on a rain-soaked city street. Lily tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, will she be okay?" "Yes, baby," he said, masking the storm of realization inside. Marcus understood that his quiet life, the world he had kept hidden behind mop buckets and apartment walls, was about to collide with something far larger than himself. And then, almost imperceptibly, Helena's phone slipped from her hand, hitting the wet pavement. Marcus bent to pick it up. The world seemed to hold its breath. The crowd's murmurs swelled, flashes of phone cameras illuminating his soaked jacket. The incident, seemingly ordinary in a city of millions, was now immortalized online. The quiet, single-dad janitor had acted instinctively, and in doing so, set the stage for a revelation that would shake public perception and test the bonds of trust, love, and courage. By morning, Marcus's quiet life had unraveled. Notifications pinged endlessly on his old phone, friend requests, comments, and messages from strangers who had seen the video of him rescuing the blind girl. Some praised him, calling him a hero. Others doubted him, questioning his motives. Single dad janitor saves blind girl, but is it real? One headline screamed. Viral hero or attention seeker? The Marcus Everett story, read another. Marcus sat at the small kitchen table, Lily perched on a stool beside him, her cereal forgotten. "Daddy, are people saying bad things?" she asked, her voice small and uncertain. "They're just talking," Marcus said, though the words rang hollow even to him. The truth stung. After a lifetime of quiet bravery, the world was skeptical, quick to judge, slow to understand. At work, whispers followed him down the gleaming hallways of the corporate tower. Colleagues stared, unsure if they should congratulate him or mock him. Even the office security guard, someone who had seen Marcus sweep floors countless times, paused mid-step. "People are calling me a fraud," Marcus muttered to Lily one evening, running a hand over his damp hair. "They don't know me, they don't know what I've done, or who I am." The small apartment, usually a sanctuary, now felt suffocating. A viral clip of the rescue had surfaced online with commentary, "Look at him. Hero or liar? All staged." Another video added dramatic music, framing the rescue as suspicious. Marcus's stomach twisted at the thought that a simple act of instinctive courage could be twisted into mockery. He went to check the bronze medal tucked in his drawer, running his fingers over the engraved letters. It was a reminder of the missions he had carried out quietly, the lives he had saved with no expectation of recognition. Now, even that felt distant. Lily reached up, her small hands wrapping around his. "Daddy, it was real. I saw it." Her words, pure and unwavering, cut through the despair. In her eyes, there was understanding, trust, and love, the only validation Marcus truly needed. But the world beyond their apartment remained harsh. Comments, emails, and even anonymous letters accused him of seeking attention. His reputation as a diligent, unassuming janitor was in question. Yet, beneath the fear and frustration, Marcus felt a steady pulse of resolve. He had acted rightly, not for fame, not for reward, but because it was necessary. He understood that moral courage did not require validation. Even if the world mocked him, even if strangers doubted his intentions, he had saved a life. He looked out the rain-streaked window, watching the city move on, oblivious to the human dramas unfolding on its streets. And he realized that heroism could exist quietly, in moments unseen, in sacrifices unacknowledged. The storm outside mirrored the storm of judgment pressing on him, yet Marcus knew he could endure. For now, the viral moment had cast a harsh light on his life, but it could not touch the core of who he was, a father, a protector, and a man whose courage had never wavered, even when no one else noticed. The next afternoon, a sleek black car pulled up to Marcus's modest apartment building. He recognized the driver as Helena Crawford, the woman whose child he had rescued the night of the storm. Her presence was commanding yet calm, a blend of authority and quiet empathy. "Marcus Everett?" she asked, stepping out of the car. Her designer coat dripped rain, but she seemed untouched by the weather. "I need to talk to you." Marcus straightened, wiping his hands on his damp jacket. I don't think we've met formally." Helena smiled faintly. "Not formally, no. But I've known of you." She stepped closer, her gaze steady. "And now, after what happened last night, the world will know, whether you want it to or not." Marcus's stomach tightened. He had hoped to remain unnoticed, to live quietly with Lily, to protect her without the scrutiny of strangers. "I don't want any attention," he said softly. Helena shook her head. "You don't have a choice. Your actions were captured. But more importantly, I want to tell you what I know. Who you really are. You were part of a mission last year, a rescue that saved dozens of lives. People like me never forget. I recognized you immediately during the rescue." Marcus's fingers brushed the bronze medal in his pocket. He had carried it silently for years, a private acknowledgement of courage no one else had witnessed. "That was a long time ago," he said. "Yes, Helena replied, her eyes piercing. But bravery doesn't expire. The world doesn't see it, but I do. And last night, your instincts, your calm under pressure, saved my daughter. It confirmed what I already knew: you are a hero, even if no one else has realized it yet. She handed him a tablet. On the screen were records of his military service, commendations he had never displayed publicly, and testimonials from those whose lives he had impacted silently. Each story reaffirmed what Marcus had known in his heart but never allowed to define him publicly. You've lived quietly, saving lives in your own way, Helena continued. And now, your actions have connected your past courage with this moment. People are watching, yes, but they're beginning to understand the truth. The blind girl's mother, standing beside Helena, nodded. He's more than a rescuer, she said softly. He embodies courage without seeking reward. Last night, he didn't think about the cameras, the attention, or recognition. He acted because it was the right thing to do. Marcus looked down at Lily, whose wide eyes reflected pride and relief. For years, he had tried to shield her from the harshness of the world. Now, the world was seeing him as she always had, a father, protector, and quietly heroic figure. Helena offered him a solution, a collaboration with her foundation to mentor children at risk, combining her resources with his instincts and courage. Marcus hesitated, wary of stepping into the spotlight. But Lily tugged at his sleeve, her small face glowing with hope. "Daddy, you could help even more kids," she whispered. Marcus exhaled. Perhaps this was the purpose he had been waiting for, a way to turn a single act of courage into something larger, to teach children bravery and kindness through example. Over the next days, the public narrative shifted. Videos of Marcus rescuing the blind girl were paired with accounts of his past heroism. Social media posts celebrated his selflessness. Journalists who had once doubted him now detailed the quiet bravery of a single dad who had spent years protecting the vulnerable, saving lives, and living without recognition. Through it all, Marcus remained humble. He refused interviews that would exploit his story. He focused instead on the small victories, Lily's laughter, the children he could now mentor, and the reassurance that courage did not require an audience. One afternoon, as he walked Lily to the park, a mother thanked him for inspiring her own child. Marcus smiled, glancing down at the medal in his pocket. It no longer felt like a relic. It was a symbol of purpose, of quiet heroism that now had the chance to ripple outward, touching more lives than he had ever imagined. Lily skipped ahead, her tiny hand raised in greeting to friends she had never met before. Marcus followed, feeling the weight of judgment lift, replaced by the steady pulse of recognition, not for fame, but for truth. The world had finally caught a glimpse of the man he had always been, courageous, selfless, and quietly heroic. As evening fell, Helena returned with her daughter. The three of them watched the sunset spill gold across the city rooftops. Marcus realized that life had a strange way of revealing the truth, sometimes in storms, sometimes in moments of fear, and often when least expected. He bent down to Lily, holding her close. "See, baby? Doing the right thing matters, even when no one is watching." She smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. "I knew you were brave, Daddy. Now everyone else knows too." For Marcus, this revelation was more than public acknowledgement. It was a confirmation that courage, morality, and love were timeless. And for Lily, it was proof that her father's quiet heroism could inspire the world. Weeks passed, and the storm that had upended Marcus's quiet life gradually gave way to calm. The city moved on, but his world had shifted in ways both subtle and profound. Helena's foundation had extended an invitation: Marcus could lead a mentorship program for at-risk children, sharing not just his skills, but the quiet courage that had always defined him. He hesitated at first. Fame had never been his goal. Recognition felt foreign, even uncomfortable. Yet Lily tugged at his sleeve one evening as he held her hand in the park. "Daddy, you could help so many kids," she whispered, her eyes shining. Her words were a reminder of why he had endured long days and sleepless nights. Courage wasn't about accolades. It was about action. And now, he had the chance to multiply his impact. Marcus's apartment became a hub of small victories. Letters from children he had never met arrived daily, thanking him for his example. Lily helped him organize care packages, filling the space with laughter and the scent of freshly baked cookies. For the first time in years, Marcus felt the weight in his chest ease. Purpose, he realized, was far more sustaining than recognition. The bronze medal, once hidden in a drawer, now rested on a shelf near the window. Sunlight caught the engraved letters, casting a warm glow across the living room. Marcus ran his fingers over it each morning, a quiet affirmation of the courage he had carried, and now, the courage he would share. One rainy evening, similar to the night that had changed everything, Marcus and Lily walked past the intersection where he had rescued the blind girl. Neon lights shimmered in puddles, echoing the chaos of that fateful night. A familiar white cane appeared in the corner of his vision. The girl smiled, waving. Marcus returned the gesture. "Daddy," Lily asked softly, "do you think I can be brave like you?" Marcus knelt to meet her gaze. "You already are," he said. "Bravery doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, in quiet acts, in kindness, in protecting someone when it matters most." Through the months, Marcus continued his janitorial work, his humility intact. Each sweep of the floor, each empty trash can, carried with it a quiet pride, the understanding that heroism existed in both the extraordinary and the ordinary. The public had witnessed a moment of courage, but Marcus knew that true heroism was not for cameras or applause. It was in the day-to-day acts, in being present, in loving without reservation. Even Helena visited occasionally, offering guidance, resources, and companionship. She never imposed, only observed, a quiet acknowledgement of the man Marcus had always been. And Lily, ever curious, often asked him to recount the story of that rainy night, her eyes wide with wonder. "Daddy, tell me again about the girl you saved," she said one evening, perched on the couch with her violin case beside her. Marcus smiled, brushing a curl from her forehead. It was a stormy night, and one small act of kindness changed everything. The bronze medal caught the light, gleaming softly. Marcus whispered to it, "True heroes live quietly among us." That phrase had become more than words. It was a compass guiding his life, a reminder that the world would not always understand courage, but that it mattered nonetheless. The city around him continued to move, neon lights flickering across wet streets, but within the walls of their apartment, peace had returned. Lily's laughter echoed, mingling with the distant hum of traffic. Marcus held her hand, feeling the pulse of life, love, and quiet heroism. The storm had passed, but the lesson endured. Acts of courage, no matter how small or unnoticed, could ripple through the world in ways unimaginable. And in that quiet evening, Marcus realized he had found something more precious than recognition or fame. He had found purpose, family, and the knowledge that his bravery, both past and present, had truly changed lives. Morning light spilled through the blinds, painting warm stripes across the small apartment. Lily's laughter echoed as she played with her stuffed bear, humming a tune that seemed to fill every corner with life. Marcus sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee, feeling its warmth seep into his hands and chest. The stormy night that had changed everything now felt distant, softened by sunlight and the calm rhythm of their lives. A knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. Helena stood there, carrying 2 small cups of cocoa, her presence quietly commanding yet gentle. "For the hero and his co-pilot," she said with a smile. Marcus chuckled, taking the cups. "We'll take it." They settled by the window, watching the city awaken. The streets shimmered with puddles, reflecting neon remnants from the previous night. Marcus thought of the viral video, the headlines, the doubts cast by strangers, and then he looked at Lily, her eyes bright with admiration and love. He realized the world's opinion no longer mattered. What mattered was the lives he had touched and the courage he had shown, quietly but unwaveringly. He glanced at the bronze medal on the shelf, sunlight glinting off its surface. It no longer felt like a relic of the past. It was a testament, not to fame, but to quiet bravery, to acts of courage that existed beyond recognition, and to the bond between father and daughter that no storm could break. Lily tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, tell me the story again," she said, her voice hopeful. Marcus smiled, brushing a curl from her forehead. "It was a stormy night, and one small act of kindness changed everything," he said softly. The city outside hummed with life, but inside the apartment, there was peace. The medals, the recognition, and even the viral moment were secondary. What mattered was love, integrity, and courage, virtues that endured quietly, beyond the glare of the world's attention. Marcus watched Lily skip toward her violin, then back at the medal, and whispered to himself, "True heroes live quietly among us." And in that small, sunlit apartment, amidst laughter, warmth, and the calm after the storm, he knew this truth would follow them forever. He never asked to be a hero, but destiny had other plans.